Hello and welcome back to the Daily Bible Summary, where the goal is to renew our mind as we read a new chapter every day and ask, what can I learn? Today's episode is entitled The Cost of Following Jesus. Read Luke chapter 9 if you have not, and if you have, let's get started. Jesus gives the 12 apostles power and authority to cast out demons and heal diseases, and then he sends them out to proclaim the kingdom throughout Israel. They are to take nothing with them, but to depend on God to provide for their needs through the kindness of others. Luke records that they do indeed go through the villages, preaching the gospel and healing everywhere. But meanwhile, Herod is hearing about everything that's happening and is a little perplexed. Herod's question is this: who is this about whom I hear such things? Now, many answers are offered to Herod, from John the Baptist risen from the dead to Elijah or to another prophet. And notice that the question of Jesus' identity is now becoming a little more urgent. People are wanting to know who he is, and people are offering their theories, but no one seems to know for sure. Luke says that Herod wanted to see Jesus, but I do wonder if he was serious in that intent. I mean, how hard would it have been to find Jesus in such a relatively small country? Now, the apostles return from their mission and report everything that they've done. And so Jesus says, well, let's go away a little ways away. Let's get some rest. And so he takes them to Bethsaida. But the crowds, well, they follow them. So Jesus welcomes the crowds and speaks to them about the kingdom and heals those who need healing. Now, as evening's approaching, the 12 suggest sending the crowd away to find food and lodging. A very reasonable, logical suggestion. But Jesus challenges his disciples by saying, you give them something to eat. Whoa, the disciples are a little perplexed. What do you mean? How are we going to do that? I mean, do we need to go and buy food? All we've got is 5 loaves and 2 fishes, and that's not nearly enough. I do find it amazing that, having just returned from a preaching mission where they had cast out demons and healed people, that they can't make the leap from there to feeding people. They didn't even try. So Jesus takes the bread and the fish, blesses and breaks them, and has the disciples distribute the food to the people that are there. And 5,000 men are fed. That doesn't include women and children. It could be well up to 10,000, 12,000 people. And then they gather 12 baskets of leftover fragments. Now think about what Jesus has demonstrated here. Once again, he's showing his power, his authority over nature. He multiplies food from almost nothing. This is the work of the Creator. Only God can do this. The clues to who he is are everywhere if people would only listen. As Jesus is praying alone with only the disciples nearby, he asks them the really important question. Well, he asked them, I've got a little ahead of myself. Let's just start with the question he asked. Who do crowds say that I am? Now, they've heard the same rumors that Herod had heard, and they share it with Jesus. But then Jesus asks them the question that really matters, and this is the important one. Who do you say that I am? And Peter answers, the Christ of God. This is the turning point of the gospel, and this is the turning point in their lives. Everything has been leading to this moment, to where they understand and know who he is. Peter confesses what the evidence demands. Jesus is the Messiah, the anointed one, the Christ of God. Now, Jesus strictly charges them to tell no one. And why would that be? Well, perhaps it is because the kind of Messiah that he is will not match the people's expectations. Not even match the disciples' expectations, really. They still need to understand what kind of Messiah he came to be before they announce it. As if to illustrate this point, immediately after Peter's confession, Jesus tells them the Son of Man must suffer many things, be rejected by the Jewish leaders, be killed, and then on the 3rd day be raised up. You see, this is not what they expected the Messiah to do. The Messiah was supposed to conquer Rome. He wasn't supposed to die. And then Jesus tells them that following him will cost them just as much. If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it. This is the pattern. Jesus goes to the cross. His followers take up their cross daily. There is no following Jesus without self-denial, without denying yourself. You cannot save your life and follow Jesus at the same time. You must choose, even to the point of death. About 8 days later, we see that Jesus takes Peter, James, and John up to a mountain to pray. And as he prays, his appearance changes and his clothes become dazzling white. Moses and Elijah appear and speak to him about his coming departure. Now, while Peter and the others are heavy with sleep, they're soon quite wide awake, and they see his glory and the two men standing with him. Peter, without thinking, offers to honor these three men. Let us make 3 tents, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. As a side note, I often wondered how he knew it was Moses and Elijah. I wonder if they had like monograms or name tags on their robes. But a cloud overshadows them, and the voice from the cloud says this is my son, my chosen one. Let me say that again. This is my son, my chosen one. Hear him, or listen to him. When the voice is spoken, Jesus is found alone. They keep silent and tell no one what they have seen. But the voice from heaven confirmed what Peter has already confessed. This is God's son. Listen to him. We don't listen to Moses. We don't listen to Elijah. Jesus is the one to listen to. Now, the rest of the chapter focuses on what it means to follow Jesus. First, we see that Jesus heals a demon-possessed boy that the disciples could not. As everyone is amazed at that healing, he makes a pointed prediction of his betrayal again. But the disciples do not understand, and they are afraid to ask. Then next, we see the disciples begin to argue over who's the greatest. And Jesus responds by setting a child beside him and teaching them that greatness in the kingdom is measured by humility and service, not by status or power. John also reports that they saw someone casting out demons in Jesus' name, and they tried to stop him because, he wasn't following with them. But Jesus says, don't do that. One who is not against you is for you. As we've noted, no one can cast out demons in his name without his power. They have lost nothing, the disciples have lost nothing, by letting this man continue to do what he is doing. Obviously, God is with him. On his way back to Jerusalem, he desires to stop at a Samaritan village, but they refuse to see him. They refuse to receive him. Apparently, upset at such an injustice, James and John want to call down fire from heaven to consume that city. But Jesus rebukes them because he did not come to destroy, but to save. And finally, we see 3 would-be followers approach Jesus. But to each of them, he explains that it won't be easy, and that it will require complete commitment. And it requires complete commitment now, not later. And that you can't start and turn back. Following Jesus requires total commitment, no excuses, no delays, no looking back. As we read this, we should be impressed that he's not hiding the commitment that's needed to follow him. He's making it clear there is a cost to following him. Those who follow Jesus know what they're getting into. No one forces you to follow him. It's your choice. So what can we learn from this chapter? I'd like to offer you a couple of thoughts. First, the most important question that you will ever answer is this: who do you say Jesus is? Everyone has an opinion, and some say that he's a good teacher, and some a prophet, and some say that he was a revolutionary or a radical. But Jesus is asking you directly, who do you say that I am? And your answer will determine everything. It'll determine your eternal destiny, how you live, what you value, and what you are willing to sacrifice. Have you answered this question for yourself? Not what your parents believe, not what your church or preacher says, but certainly not what culture says. Who do you say that Jesus is? Peter said he was the Christ of God. My question to you is that your confession as well, that he is the Christ of God? If not, or if so, why don't you make a comment about it below? A second lesson is that following Jesus requires that we let go of everything and requires daily self-denial. Jesus says, take up your cross daily. True, we make the decision one time and we're not supposed to turn back from that decision. But self-denial is a daily practice. It's a daily dying to self. It means saying no to your plans, to your own comfort, to your own ambitions when they conflict with following Jesus. The would-be followers in this chapter all had reasons to delay. But Jesus says there's no room for delay or even half-hearted commitment. Are you taking up your cross daily? Or are you trying to follow Jesus on days when it's convenient? Following Jesus is not always convenient, and it's not always comfortable. It will cost us everything. But what you gain is worth infinitely more than what you give up. Tomorrow, Lord willing, we will move into Luke chapter 10. This is where we will see Jesus send out 72 and learn the parable of the Good Samaritan. As we reflect on the question of who Jesus is and what it means to follow him without reservation, we continue each day to renew our minds.